to the BJ Show. Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Come on, everybody. Let's lose control. Brad and John never wants to follow. Yeah, ready for the ride. It's the BJ Show. BJ Show.
John, did you know we are leaders? Did you know that?
Leaders of men? Yes, absolutely, Brad. But in what indication are you saying that we're leaders?
Well, because of the fact that the jingle says they're the ones to follow. So that means we're leaders, right? Isn't that what it means?
Yeah. Hey, as we point out a couple times a year, there's also people that follow elephants at the circus and clean up behind them. Which is what I do after you create an AI tune, Brad, or an AI logo. And that's actually going to be reference in story number 3. What a teaser you gave us.
Is it something AI I did wrong? Is that what you're saying?
No, Brad. When would that happen?
Never. Okay. That is John Combest, Combest. Every single day of his life, he puts together this incredible list of all the important stuff that's going on in the state of Missouri. Sometimes you'll see stuff from other states, but it has to do with Missouri. Sometimes even national stuff, but it all comes back to the mighty Mo. But what we do is, it's information overload if you go to his website. I mean, I know people that have gone to his website, and people like me who are ADD, and they've looked at the amount of stories and they've stroked out. They went, oh, on the floor. They can't handle it. But what we do for those people like myself who can't handle 20 or 30 or 40 stories, we bring you the top 3. We bring in this guy right here. Your name, sir?
I'm Casey Kasem.
And we start with?
In third place.
Brad, yesterday you made the great decision at the end of C Block to remove a reference I made to female passengers in your car and their chin. Go ahead and delete the part where you say, listeners, go to my website, and then just stroke it out. I think you'll probably want to remove that. Brad, here's a headline from West News Magazine's sister publication, Mid Rivers News Magazine. Always doubt. Check it out. Now, as you teased prior to story number 3, this is what I say when I get anything AI related from Brad Hildebrand. Always doubt. Check it out. But it's also a catchphrase from the St. Louis FBI office, Rebecca Wu. You may remember her. She was once a TV news reader on a major station here in St. Louis. She's now the public affairs officer with the FBI St. Louis field office. Always doubt, check it out. And she's talking about cryptocurrency scams. Now, Brad, when I first started hearing a year or two ago about cryptocurrency scams, I thought it was something to the effect of people who were in the cryptocurrency market would try to get other people who were into cryptocurrency to, buy theirs or trade theirs or scam theirs, something like that. But as I've learned through recent news coverage, that's not what law enforcement officials are talking about with cryptocurrency scams. Pardon me. What they're saying is that the old scheme of a scammer, perhaps located in India, calling an old person or someone else who's very gullible, getting them on the phone, and instead of having them open a bank account website or having them drive to a local store and purchase Apple or Google Play cards, the scammers will have them go to a nearby gas station that has a cryptocurrency ATM. And at these ATMs, you can transfer your own cash into a cryptocurrency account. So when you hear crypto scams, it's not just referencing some sort of rug pull or some sort of trading scheme. It's actually conning gullible people out of their money with these Bitcoin machines. I bring this up today because there's a piece, as I mentioned, in the Mid Rivers News Magazine, which you can find at your local Schnucks and Deerbergs or subscribe to. The piece is written by Jessica Marie Baumgartner. But there's also a link that I have up on my website today from Fox 2 News. Mark Zinn sat down with AG Catherine Hanaway, and one of her topics that she's talking about in terms of vice, going after drugs and organized crime and things like that, are these cryptocurrency ATMs. And Brad, to make it super local for us, in the Mid Rivers News Magazine piece, we hear folks in St. Peter's, when I say folks, I mean the police chief, saying emails are going out, people are falling victim to these cryptocurrency scams. And St. Peter's Police Department put something on Facebook, which if you're going to reach really gullible old people that don't know any better, that's a good place to do it, is go to Facebook, to say many victims are being directed to use cryptocurrency ATM machines to deposit their money. Now, for their part, Cottleville specifically says they haven't encountered any schemes. FBI St. Louis, according to Rebecca Wu, say they get about one call a day about these crypto schemes. So I guess this just shows us, Brad, that Catherine Hanaway is talking about it, local law enforcement is talking about it, and we've probably, if you have boomer parents or you're related to other old and naive people, you've probably told them, hey, if someone says you need to get on your bank website and there's been an overpayment, or if someone tells you to go to a store and purchase gift cards, excuse me, don't fall for that scam. I think we got to add Bitcoin ATMs to that warning we give to old people, Brad.
John, so this is where they go to the machines and the machines defraud them? Is that what happens?
No, so let's think about it this way, Brad. It would be like if you went to one of your banks, let's assume that you had a bank, and you went to your bank, and at your ATM, there was an option on that ATM that said, okay, instead of getting $200 out, you can take that money from your account and you can send it to cryptocurrency Bitcoin user X. And so it's the same type of scheme. You're telling an old person, hey, you're late on your bills, or your grandson is being held in a local jail. You need to bail him out. So you can go to these Bitcoin ATMs, and in theory, I mean, the machines themselves are legitimate. Let's not blame the machine. That'd be like blaming a gun for a crime that's committed. But these scammers are using these machines as yet another way to defraud people from their money.
In the same way they would tell you to go to like Walmart and send them a MoneyGram, that kind of a deal, right?
You're exactly right, Brad.
Okay.
And so Catherine has done a good job. And as a foreshadowing, we're going to talk about Catherine in story number 2 as well. But Catherine puts this in her vice category of, if we're fighting what's essentially organized crime, we're going to put 7-OH and intoxicating products, and then also financial scams kind of in this vice category.
You know, it's so fascinating that there's so many people out there that this is all they do. They just scam people all day long.
And I mean, there's always a creative way to do it. And I think a lot of people, thanks to internet awareness, guys like Kitboga, guys that do these awesome videos, they really help educate people of, if someone says that they're from your bank, Brad, think of how many, and let's be honest, think of how many people we know who have a relative that's an old person, or like someone like your age, Brad, or even older sometimes, who said, oh, they met somebody online. It's a handsome man in India. It's a beautiful woman in Indonesia, and she's flying to the United States. She just needs a little money when she gets there, when she lands, you know? I know people whose parents have fallen for those scams.
I thought it was all the princes from Nigeria who got their fortunes locked away in another country, and they needed your help to unlock it. I thought that was the scam, no?
Hey, it's actually Joaquin Phoenix and Keanu Reeves in their Twitter accounts, Brad.
Okay, you ready for number 2?
I am, Brad.
Up a notch to number 2.
Catherine Hanaway was a busy woman yesterday. Brad, get your Andrew Bailey 97.1 jokes ready. Yesterday morning, Catherine Hanaway was on our friend Stephanie Bell's show in mid-Missouri. She was on 3 shows. Count them, 3. Yesterday, excuse me for my voice here, Brad. Pardon me. Yesterday on 97.1, she was on the Mark Cox morning show in the morning. She was on Annie Fry early afternoon. And then she was on Mark Reardon late afternoon. And she was mostly talking about that case about the U.S. Census and not counting illegal aliens. How counting illegal aliens defrauds Missouri potentially out of a congressional district seat. How that's not fair. But she also touched on a few other issues, Brad, including drugs. And one of the topics that we have not beat to death on this show, because let's face it, we've beat hemp and cannabis and marijuana to death. One of the topics that we haven't beat to death is in the crosshairs of Catherine. And she mentioned this topic yesterday with Mark Zen on Fox 2 Now as well. And that's 70H. Brad, you may recall once or twice you and I discussing Kratom. Do you remember Kratom?
Yeah, there's a place, there's a couple places around St. Louis that have like their name of their stores, like KBD Kratom or something like that. Is that like what you're talking about?
Yeah, or CBD Kratom.
Yeah, CBD Kratom. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
And there's a couple. I remember there was a place in St. Charles County, like maybe off of 94, someplace I would always drive by and had one of those flashing neon lights years ago that said Kratom. Had no idea what it was. But apparently 70H is a derivative of the Kratom tree plant, botanical, whatever you want to call it. And 70H, which is the name of some complicated chemical, is an opioid. So people that don't want to use a traditional pharmaceutical opioid, let's say go to their doctor and get a prescription for pain for this sort of opioid, might go and purchase a 70H compound to alleviate their pain. And I think therein you see where there's a whole lot of competing interests immediately. Do kids have access to this? Could a 18-year-old go to a gas station and buy it? Could a 17-year-old go to a gas station and buy it? So there's legislation this year. A woman named Maggie Nurrenbern, not to be confused with Nuremberg. People frequently say it incorrectly. Nurrenbern from Kansas City. She's a Democrat, and she has legislation that would put some parameters around 70H. You would have to be 21 to buy it. The concentrate couldn't be over a certain limit. In other words, the intensity of that 70H pill couldn't be above a certain threshold. So, Brad, the converging interest that we have here, and here's why I think we should talk about it, because Catherine's talking about it all the time, and Missouri legislators are talking about it all the time, and it could be one of those hemp cannabis issues that just keeps going and going. So I think the converging interests here are you have people that have found a loophole, I guess you could say, kind of in federal and in state law on this pharmaceutical product. And they would say that they here, let's use one company in Missouri named American Shaman, which is based in Kansas City. They would say there's a lot of people that don't want to go to a doctor and have traditional pharmaceuticals address their pain, or other pharmaceuticals they've tried with a prescription have not been satisfactory for alleviating their pain without certain side effects, etc. So they have the right, or they deserve the opportunity to go and purchase 708 at their local gas station or head shop or wherever they want to go and get their 708 drugs and take them and alleviate their pain. And on the other hand, you have the pharmaceutical industry, which I think it's fair to say, says, oh, heck no. If you're going to be alleviating your pain with an opioid, we want in on that business. And if you're going to have any sort of opioid, we're going to get paid from it. So it's not surprising that legislators are saying, hey, we want to put some parameters around this. And you have competing interests there, Brad.
John, I just say blow the whole thing wide open. We won't have to worry about this thing anymore. Just cocaine, heroin, anything. You just have to get, like in Illinois, you have to get like the firearms ID card, the FOID card. In Missouri, you just have the DOID card, the drug owner's ID card. And, and on the back it says, if you have any kind of, problem with withdrawal, tough noogies. If you end up destitute and poor in the street, tough noogies. If you have a heart attack that's caused by the drugs, or you have brain damage caused by the drugs, tough noogies, go ahead, use those drugs. We don't care anymore. What do you think, John?
I think that's a great plan, Brad. And I think, you know who doesn't agree with that? Subject to story number one.
Who's that? Is that for me? My cue to hit
That's
number one?
That's your cue, Brad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not as smart as I used to be.
The number one.
I'm actually into double-digit IQs now, so.
Wow, up from single digit, Brad.
You got it.
Wearing that helmet has helped you a whole lot.
It has.
A headline from the Associated Press. A woman named Alana Durkin Ricker. Or maybe it's Richer. Let's go with Ricker. That sounds more German. Ed Martin removed as head of Justice Department's weaponization working group. We haven't discussed former St. Louisan Ed Martin in a while. he was in the middle of some controversies. Well, that's an understatement. But he was in the middle of some controversies at the beginning of the Trump administration last January 2025, and he's back in the news today. Here's how Miss Ricker starts her story. Conservative activist Ed Martin has been removed as head of the Justice Department group tasked with scrutinizing the federal prosecutions of President Donald Trump and is no longer working out of department headquarters, according to a person familiar with the matter. Martin remains the department's pardon attorney, but is now working out of a building across Washington that houses some Justice Department offices, the person said. Martin had previously been working on the 4th floor at Justice Department headquarters, which houses the Deputy Attorney General's office. Here's where it gets good. It was not immediately clear why Martin was no longer in charge of the, quote, weaponization working group, end quote, created on AG Pam Bondi's first day in office last year. But another person familiar with the matter said the group under his leadership was not making much progress. The people spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss an internal personnel matter. So we have, of course, no commentary from Ed Martin on here. There's no comment from him. And she says, the reporter says, efforts to reach him by telephone and mail weren't immediately successful Monday. So this means that she called him at 4:59 and didn't hear back. So it would be inaccurate to say that Ed didn't have a comment. Ed generally doesn't stay quiet about anything. I'm guessing the reporter just reached out to him late. So remember, Brad, after Ed got in a little bit of controversy in terms of being the prosecuting attorney for, I should have it in front of me, the interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. He was the interim there. And then he made some bold changes. He allegedly went after some people who were involved in the persecution of January 6th protesters. And then a U.S. senator from North Carolina was like, hey, I can't support Ed Martin in this position in a permanent role. So then Ed became the lead of this weaponization group. So it would appear as though Ed's either voluntarily finding something else to do, or there's some sort of internal politics and people say, we want Ed out, go find Ed another job to do, let somebody else handle weaponization.
You know, Ed's like one of those guys that seems like he's always in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, Brad, maybe. But, you know, a converse way of looking at that. In my corner of the internet, we have a phrase where we say, hot women always land on their feet. So if an attractive woman might not be the brightest, at least she keeps herself in decent shape, she looks good, she has a string of bad relationships, some guy is always going to want to take her out on a boat, whether it's the Cayman Islands or whether it's Lake of the Ozarks. Somebody's gonna put up with a woman who's annoying and not very bright as long as she's hot. And the reason why I relate that to Ed Martin is Ed is always going to land on his feet. And Ed might get in trouble and Ed might break a few eggs to make an omelet. But even after he wears out his welcome at a place, people are going to want to have Ed Martin come and create some havoc, create some chaos, make some noise, bring some attention to their group. And Ed's going to be able to get Ed's going to be able to get a job at any conservative, nonprofit, legal group, constitutional group that he wants. Like, Ed is like a hot woman. He will always land on his feet.
Well, so what you're telling me is Ed's a hot dude that the rich, hot single women would say, hey, Ed, would you come out in my boat with me? Would you come on to the Cayman Islands with me? Is that what you're saying, John? Will you go a weekend in Vegas?
Now, Brad, you get a lot of the invitations to the River de Pear.
I do. Yeah, I do get.
That's the quality of those are the type of women that say, God, that hot piece of meat, Brad Hildebrand.
That's right.
I mean, or as Jeffrey Epstein would say in the email files, you're a little muffin or maybe you're a steak. You know what I'm saying? But that's a completely different story. No, Ed's going to be fine. You know, people, everybody's got an opinion on Ed. You know what I'm saying? And I've mentioned my bias before. I knew Ed back when he was a Bryan Cave attorney, when he was an arm's length away from politics. I've always liked Ed. I have friends where Ed drives him crazy, let's just say. But I think Ed is a good man, and I know that Ed will land on his feet.
And he got involved with Phyllis Schlafly, who my mother loved. My mother was a big Phyllis Schlafly fan.
Really? That surprises me, Brad. I mean, I guess they were both kind of shrill and sometimes angry.
Yeah, and one day my mom met Phyllis Schlafly, and they had a little falling out. You know why their falling out was?
Oh, why is that?
Phyllis Schlafly was out to lunch with my mom, and she said, Mrs. Hildebrand, I do a radio show. And my mom was, oh, that's it. I'm not having anything to do with you. You're on the radio. I never listen to the radio. And she got up and left.
That's exactly what happened. And Phyllis got so mad that she had you come in and guest produce her show several times.
I did that once.
I know. You've did them tots, Brad.
And that was such an interesting day. It was so interesting. Here I was sitting literally right next to Phyllis Schlafly doing her radio show on the Bot Radio Network. Okay, the Bot Radio Network. Okay.
Good old Dick Bot. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we have to take a break.